Have you ever been told to try something simple with fibromyalgia and you didn't believe it would help? Yeah, that was me too. I'm not going to sit here and promise you a cure because there isn't one. But this is something I didn't expect to do anything. And I tried it anyway. And it actually did make a difference. About 10, 15 years ago, I went to one of my regular appointments with the nurse at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center. And one thing he told me that kind of shocked me was that he actually had fibro himself. When I saw this nurse, I had just come out of a major issue that had caused some severe medical incidents to the point where I was hospitalized in ICU for a few days. And because of that, I was starting to come out of the fog that happens when you're on severe medications. The medication I was on is normally used to treat something very different. And that was not a problem I ever had. But the doctors were so concerned about how much pain I had that they went for the extreme. And I stayed on it for 5 years. When he told me he had fibromyalgia, it kind of really shocked me in a good way. Because as you probably have already learned, the men who have fibro, there's a lot less of them, only about maybe 10%. So in a way, what he told me actually kind of, it made me listen to him a little more, even though I was skeptical. Have you ever felt dismissed by doctors? Like they're not actually listening to you? After everything I had been through, the medical incidents, the dismissals, and how none of the doctors seemed to actually know how to handle what was going on, I won't lie, I was very short on trust. And when the nurse gave the suggestion of the B12, my skepticism was pretty broad. Here I was fighting to try and get recognition for some of my symptoms. I had just come down off of the constant fog that was induced by the medications, and I was finally starting to think in a way that's normal for me because I wasn't constantly asleep. Everybody seems to say there's no such thing as fibro, or they tell you just to do this and do this without no real explanation as to why. And a complete dismissal of you as a human being is what it feels like. Maybe that's not their intention, but that's how they come off. And that leaves you twisting in the wind. It honestly does. And it is any wonder you lose trust in what they tell you. And that leads to not even willing to actually listen to the doctors because you don't think they have your best interest at heart. I know that's what I felt. So when the nurse told me he had fibro himself, that gave me a little bit more connection to the possibility that would actually help. And ultimately, I think that's why I did try it. The fact that it was a vitamin without all the side effects allowed me to say yes. Well, I'm sure most of you have felt it. You kind of dismiss a lot of what doctors and nurses tell you because most of it doesn't sound like it's actually viable. The one thing he said, and he actually prescribed for me to take, was B12. He said that it is not uncommon for people with fibromyalgia to be chronically low in it. I had already started coming out of the even deeper fog than a normal cognitive fog. So I was a little bit more open to it, and I was also a little more open to going to the doctor to try and find reasons for some of the other symptoms I had noticed, such as the nausea, such as the energy levels. Before I had just come to accept it and just deal with it. And when he explained to me how we do tend to be chronically low in B12, and that's one of the reasons for our fog, I was willing to actually try it. It helps that it was prescribed, so I kind of just took everything I was prescribed, which I will admit was a mistake because I was taking everything as prescribed and whatnot. And that's one of the things that led to the medical issue. And I still take B12 to this day. It's no longer prescribed because I'm no longer in the US, but I do take it. And I take a higher dose than people without fibro would take. But the reason why is because I did notice it does increase your energy levels. It helps a bit with the cognitive fog. I I also take others, but those are for different episodes. This one is just about the B12. When I went back and got my psychology degree, I did a lot of research into fibromyalgia. I had already been doing a lot anyway, but this time I was looking more in relation to the papers I was writing. And I came across the fact that they have started doing research into the chronic low levels of B12 in somebody who has fibromyalgia. And today I will be including one of those research papers in the description below. As you know, fatigue, cognitive fog, and stuff like that is something we all deal with. And that's on top of, and it depends on what is your main complaint in fibro. Some people, it's the cognitive fog. Sometimes it is the weariness. Sometimes it's sleep, even though one of the biggest ones is, of course, pain. No matter how you look at it, fibromyalgia is a very complicated illness. Have you found anything that actually helps you cope, even just a little? When I started having the falls. And that right there is one of my major symptoms. It is falls, which of course cause physical damage to your joints, which of course increases your pain. There is no simple answer. And I'm not going to lie to you and say there is. But as time goes by, as you learn to control your body, as you learn to accept your illness, and you learn how to cope, there are a few things that do catch up with you, and they do actually spark your attention, even though you may not realize it at the time. And that B12 incident is one that did with me. Because it started me on a research study where, as time went on, I looked more into vitamins. I looked more into deficiencies due to the problem I have with nausea. You don't eat as much or you don't eat the right things because you healthy food, let's just face it, cooking it is a lot more energy wise, which we don't have. It's also more expensive. So I won't lie, I take vitamins to help with that. To this day, I actually am grateful for him because he gave me a step forward. And he encouraged me to look beyond just pharmaceuticals into other ways of supporting my body that really does help. I want to thank you for being here. I also hope you have a much better week. If you find this content valuable, feel free to like this video. If you have somebody who is struggling with this illness, please feel free to share this video or this channel. I would really like to build a community where we support each other to try and make this illness a little less isolatory. Have a good day. I do want to add one thing. These videos are written from my own personal experiences, from my own research. They are not meant as a medical diagnosis. They're not meant as medical advice. I'm just trying to share ways that I've learned to deal with the illness from over 3 decades of experience.